What's up?
Man,
Welcome to the Now.
up?
How we
Welcome to
doing?
the Now. We're doing good.
It's been a minute.
We have not recorded in a while.
It's been a while.
We're
It's been a while.
drafting worship teams
Drafting
today.
worship teams today. We didn't have like an explosion.
And
Like,
intro. We're just
drafting worship teams.
Oh, man, I almost kicked that
kick the
mic.
mic. That would not
Say-
be good. So what we're gonna do is basically we're going to decide who gets to pick first.
Yeah.
And then we're going to. The premise is if you were to put on a worship concert, what worship teams are you bringing in? What's your draft?
Or people.
Or people. I'm gonna try to go with people, but it's gonna be good.
ready?
Okay, so we're gonna rock paper scissors. Who gets
Yeah.
first pick? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh. Yes, let's go.
Dang it. All right, you go
let's
first.
go.
You
All
do
right,
it.
I'm hyped, but I don't know why because I have no idea who I'm gonna pick. So this first overall pick, I gotta go with my boy Chandler Moore.
Oh, okay.
Chandler
okay.
Moore.
Okay.
I mean, it's kind of a toss-up. I would say who the toss-up is, but then I'm afraid you might take this person, so I'm not going to say who the toss-up was. But Chandler Moore, off the board,
number one.
first round draft
My
pick.
number one,
What you got?
Brennan Joseph
Okay.
from NBL Worship.
Okay. Oh man. Oh man.
Or just bring the whole team.
Just bring the whole team.
bring the whole team.
There you go. Okay. All right. I'm glad you said that because one cannot have a Chandler Moore without a Dante.
Dante Bowe.
Dante Bowe.
There's
I know
some
he's going.
controversy.
I know there's
some real
controversy, but you know
controversy.
what? God's grace is sufficient for Dante. I'm just gonna say it. So
That's a good
I'm
point.
gonna go
Dante Bowe.
Chandler and Dante. They're gonna come in with
So
a
I'm gonna go-
6 set.
I can't believe you didn't pick this guy.
I know where
But,
you're going.
I'm gonna have to go this guy that name rhymes with Schmannen Make. His name's actually Brandon Lake.
Brandon Lake. Boom.
Brandon
Brandon
Lake.
Lake is off the board. Pick number 4. That's good. That's good. I don't know
pick
how
number
to
3?
say her last name, but this girl can. Oh my goodness. This girl is so anointed. Stephanie Grintz. I don't know how to say her last name.
What?
She's a redhead. She was with Bethel at one point. I think she's
Okay.
now with Jesus Culture or Jesus Image, one of the two.
Jesus Image, yeah, I know
Yes,
what you're
yes.
talking
So, man, that girl can worship. She's anointed. You put Chandler, you put Dante, you put her on a stage.
Oh my
it's
gosh.
over.
It's
That's
over.
4 hours of worship right there.
Say
It'll
less.
feel like 20 minutes.
I'm just saying,
Who do you got?
with
Last
Brandon
pick.
Joseph singing and leading spontaneous worship,
Yep.
Brandon Lake with gratitude. Oh my gosh.
Come
Dude.
on. Who
And
you got?
then with Upper Room,
Uh-oh.
just Upper Room.
Just upper room.
Just
Bring the whole
Upper-
the
we're
whole
bringing the whole
group.
group.
I
We're
hope.
we're bringing them.
Man, I hope you got a big enough soundboard for all the channels that you're gonna need for all the
We're
vocals
gonna
and
bring
instruments.
the whole Upper Room.
Man.
So Brandon Joseph, Brandon Lake,
Yeah.
and Upper Room.
Yeah. I love it.
Let us know.
Yeah.
Let us know.
What would you choose?
What would you choose?
What's your worship concert draft? Obviously the NFL draft is right around the corner, so that's kind of the idea behind this.
Yeah.
Love it. I love it. I think mine was better though. I'm just gonna say it. No, I'm just playing.
But hey, we got
a good
Live
podcast
Youth
today.
coming up.
Yeah.
Jesus Freak
Jesus Freak was last night.
series last
Yes,
night.
sir.
It's gonna continue the series.
Yep.
But we have an awesome podcast today with Grace Laskowski.
Look at you
Laskowski.
nailing the
Look
names
at
now.
that. Look
Man,
at that.
you're not
Grace
rusty.
Laskowski.
Yeah.
Hey, but let's play the clip
From Christy.
She
killed it.
It's awesome.
Such a good
Let's play it,
testimony. Here we go. What would you say to those young people who are maybe questioning their identity? Maybe they're questioning their sexuality. Maybe they're in a part of their life where they feel isolated, they feel unwanted, they feel unloved. And I know this is a powerhouse question here for you. So, like, what are some things that you would just maybe some words of encouragement that you would offer to them as young people who are struggling in those areas?
I think it's important for them to know that it's okay that they're struggling with it.
Yeah.
I don't think that they need to feel shame or feel like it's not okay. And I think the worst thing that we can do is invalidate their feelings.
Sure.
Because like these are very real feelings that they're having.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth is that the feelings are based on a lie.
That's good.
And so I don't know if this is a good analogy or not, but I think like a school bully like telling you that you're fat or ugly or you're worthless, that kind of thing. Like that makes you feel a certain way. That makes you feel terrible. Like that's a very real feeling.
Right.
But that's coming from a person that doesn't love you and like doesn't care about you, doesn't want the best for you, kind of thing.
Right.
So you can't build your feelings off of that. Like I think it's just so important to go back to what God says about you.
Yeah.
And I think lately the thing for me is like having love and truth. Like you can't have one without the other.
That's
It
good.
just it doesn't work.
Man, that was an awesome clip, awesome testimony.
Christy did
from
such
Christy,
a great job.
awesome transformation. But here we have Grace Liskowski.
Yes, nailed it.
I nailed the last name. I nailed it.
You
Man,
got
it's
it.
such an honor. So you're a senior in high school. Just explain a little bit about what's going on in your life right now. Yeah.
So I'm a senior in Columbia High School, but I actually graduated early. So
Okay.
I was done in December, which so glad I was done in December. So now I am working at Creative Kids in Columbia. It's a preschool, and I love it there. I love it there so much.
And Duncan works there too.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
See?
Yeah.
Dang, I did not know that.
Good job, Hayes.
Look at that. I connected the two. I was like,
You're like, wait a minute. That sounds like the same place my brother works.
Yeah.
that's where I went to preschool.
Oh, wow.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Yeah. I went to preschool there too.
Oh, look at you now. You're teaching.
Yeah, it's crazy
That
actually.
is kinda crazy.
Yeah, because like kids will get out a puzzle and I'll just be like, I remember playing with that same puzzle at your age 13 years ago.
I put it together way faster than this kid.
Do you like scratch their backs when they're on the
Yeah.
on the cots? That was the best thing.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
For them, it was the best thing for them, but my arm gets tired after a while and I'm like, are you ever gonna
I was
fall
always fake.
asleep?
I was always fake sleeping.
Yeah. I never slept during nap time either.
No. Now I wish I did. Oh my gosh. I'd probably be taller.
You probably would be taller. That's true.
Oh man.
Where has this podcast gone?
Where is it gone? Where is it gone?
Oh man. So obviously working at Creative Kids, graduated in December. Other than that, what's going on in life right now?
I mean, I'm just trying to get prepared for college.
Where are you headed to?
University of Northern Colorado.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm majoring in psychology and minoring in American Sign Language.
Come on.
Dang.
That's a good combo.
Yeah,
It's a real good combo.
I'm really excited. So I'm just getting prepared for that. But other than that, I mean, I'm just
Do you know a lot of sign language now or no?
no.
My wife only taught me one thing because she works at the preschool here, and that's poop. It's the only thing she's taught me. I don't know why. She keeps calling me that, but no.
I don't know any sign language right now, but I know, and I tell people that I'm gonna minor in it, and they're like, "Oh, sign something." And I'm like, I don't know yet. It's like,
Well, now you know. Poop. There
Yeah.
you go. There you go. See?
poop.
Poop. There
Okay.
you go.
Oh man.
First
We're off
lesson
to it.
right here on the Now.
Man, but on a more serious note, explain your salvation experience.
Yeah.
How you grew up, where you were, where you are now. Like, where'd you get to the grace you are now?
So I grew up with my mom and dad. There was like a rocky, part in my life that it like really affected me and it bothered me, and I kind of still take it through life with me today. But
Sure.
it like I try to, I used to always like feel like I couldn't what's the right word? I feel like I couldn't forgive
Sure.
people for what they did to me, but I eventually, forgave, and that has brought me so much peace in my life, and so I got through that, and then I had never known Jesus until
What age range was that you kind of?
that was, since I was born until probably I'd say fifth grade.
Okay.
And so, and then sixth grade, I started becoming friends with people in the church, and I got into church more. Like I came to youth every Wednesday, but I didn't really have a relationship with Jesus.
Yeah.
I just came just for the social aspect of it, and I never really tried to broaden my relationship with God, but throughout, like, I'd say probably, like, it took about 2 years until I was like, well, I kind of looked around the room and I was like, this many kids my own age believe in something. I was like, it's got to be real then. And so I kind of, I went deeper into it. And my youth, we did 5:30 youth group. We did an hour before so we could come in and even like dive deeper before youth. And I came to that and I was so ready, and I just like would ask questions all the time and try to like get really into it. And my relationship with God grew significantly, and I was like so into it. I wanted to do everything I possibly could with the youth and learn anything I could about God and like his word and everything. But then I got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis when I was 13. When I was 13, it was the summer before 8th grade year. And that was really hard because, I mean, it's actually it's kind of funny though, because Mr. Warenberg, did you have Mr. Warenberg?
Yeah, I know.
He actually brought one of his friends into class at the end of the year, and he shared how he had cancer and how he overcame cancer. And like, I just remember one of the things he said was, like when I went to the bathroom, I noticed there was blood. And I was in Colorado with my grandparents, and I went to the bathroom and there was blood. And so I was like, I called my mom and I was crying. I was like, Mom, I have cancer.
Oh,
and
man.
I was just like, I was so upset. And she was like, you're going to have to take a step back and explain what is going on.
Right.
But then it is kind of funny though. Like, I thought I was like,
But you're in 8th grade. You're like, this is what I heard. This is what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't your mind go that way?
I know. And so, but there was like a time, there was probably like, I'd say probably about a 3-week time where we had like no idea what was going on. Like, I had all these symptoms, but we had no idea like what they were like connected to. And so my mom got me into a specialist doctor, like I think it's gastronomy or something like that, but
Some big fancy word.
yeah, something like that. And she got me into him. So my doctor, we did a colonoscopy, and it turns out that my left side of my colon was inflamed. So he put me on this medicine, but it takes about 12 weeks for it to know if it's gonna work or not. And so I was on that for 12 weeks, and I came back in for another colonoscopy to see about like where we were at, if it was helping. And when I woke up from the anesthesia, the doctor came in and was basically like, your whole colon is inflamed now. The medicine did nothing. And your hemoglobins, which is your red blood cell count, they're at a 7 when they're really supposed to be at a 15.
Yikes.
So I was severely anemic, and he was like, we're going to admit you into the hospital, and we're going to give you an emergency blood transfusion. And so that was really scary because, I mean, there was a lot of information being thrown at me at once.
And you're in 8th grade at this point, right?
Yeah.
Around that time frame? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so it was really scary. And, I mean, like, obviously my mom wasn't breaking down crying, but I could tell she was scared too.
Sure.
And my mom was passed out on the couch. I was, done with my blood transfusion, and I just, I was awake, and I was just crying the whole night because I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what the future was going to look like with having this disease. And I just remember just being like, God, like, why me? Like, I was so, I was just why? What did I do to deserve this? And
Did all this kind of take place before or after you had talked about, being involved in youth? Was this before or after all of that took place?
this was after.
Okay.
Yeah, I was getting into youth more, and I
sure.
was my relationship with Jesus was growing, and it was to a place where it never was before.
Sure.
And then this happened, and I just was like,
Why?
why? Like,
Yeah.
obviously, you're not
Yeah.
you're not the great God that everybody says you are, because you put this, like, you made me go through this.
Mm.
So, but yeah, and then I, freshman year, it was, not there at all. It was completely non-existent. My
Your relationship with God?
Mhm,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. So you completely just kind of like shut that door and was like, I'm done?
Yeah, I was like, I had it. I was like, I'm done with this. And
Wow.
I've been in and out of the hospital 8th grade year to freshman year a lot.
Sure.
And so I was like, obviously you're not as great as everyone says you are. So I just I shut that down immediately. And then sophomore year was kind of a weird year because that was like COVID, and
Oh, sure.
it was, no one was really, everyone was like, oh, should we get back out, or should we not, or should we stay in? And so it was a weird year for me. So I was in and out of the hospital a little bit that year, but it wasn't, to the extreme of freshman year.
Yeah.
And then
Makes sense.
junior year, my grandma invited me to church, and
that's Life Community Church? Okay.
this
Okay.
one. And I went, and I was like, oh, that was really great. It was something to do with, it's okay to, come here and, give your burdens to God. Like, that's okay, and he'll take them. And I just was like, oh, that was really great. And then I left, and was like, well, that was great, but I have life, so
Right.
I don't need to go to church. So, but then and at that point, I wasn't so angry at God,
Sure.
and so I was like, I know you're there, but I'm still a little peeved that you gave me this.
Sure.
And then senior year, I've been doing a lot better with the colitis. I mean, I obviously still have my days where it's hard, and but I got back into church because my grandma invited me to Christmas.
Come on, Grandma.
Yeah.
Grandma. Them grandmas that are always praying.
That's right.
Yeah.
Don't stop
Oh,
praying,
yeah.
Grandmas. Come on.
If grandma's watching this,
That's right.
keep praying.
Keep
And
praying.
she never stops. Yeah.
That's
She's
awesome.
like, I prayed that the rain would go away, and it did. And
Come
so-
on, Grandma.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
She's always
That's awesome.
praying. So then I came to service, and I was like, I just remember before coming to service, I was like driving in my car, and I was by myself, and I was like, there's something seriously missing from my life, because I graduated early, so I was done with high school in December. I have great friends. I have a job that, a future, like, I hadn't started yet, but I was going to have a job that I loved. And, my boyfriend is great. I'm going to college, and like, I should be super, super happy in life, and I just wasn't.
There was
And
still something missing.
There was something seriously missing from my
Wow.
life, and
Wow.
I didn't know what it was, and so I even, tried to go to parties. That
Wasn't your thing?
Nope. Never. Never was my thing. I always hated parties, and about 5 minutes in, I was like, yeah, now I remember why I hate these things. But yeah, and so then I came to church, and during Christmas service, I was in the bathroom, and I just started crying. So it was like, it was just such an empty hole that
Wow.
I didn't know what to fill it with, and I knew like instantly that Jesus was what I needed to fill it with.
That's
And
awesome.
So
Would you say, oh, go ahead.
Oh, would you say like that was your clicking point?
Oh, look at
Is
that.
that what you were gonna say?
I was going to say something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That was 100% my clicking point because I haven't missed a church yet. And I am reading my Bible. I'm taking notes. I'm praying. I'm sharing the word of God. And so ever since then, and I feel happier. Like there's just, there was just, obviously Jesus was missing from my life. And
So
I didn't
cool.
know it at the time, but that was what I needed to put in my life to feel happy and to feel whole. So.
That's good. What do you think brought you? Because you obviously, I think we mentioned at the beginning, you reached out to us about coming in on here and sharing your
Yeah.
story, which, by the way, you're the first person to have done that.
Oh, really?
We've had to like chase down people before. So the fact that somebody is like, hey, like I'd like to be on here. So what do you think led you to that moment?
I don't think she was the first person that.
No, we've had people ask, but like, hey, when can I be on? But it's never been like a serious, like, I want to tell my story. It's been like, I just want to be on. You know what I'm saying?
You got a good point.
Okay. So I'm just,
Lauren was there too. Lauren said you want to be on.
yeah, she said she wanted to be on, but I think
That's a good point. Anyway,
it's someone who like, hey, like I have this story that I want to tell. I have my testimony that I want to share. I've never shared it before. I'm apprehensive, but I know I need to do it. Like that was you.
Yeah.
What do you think got you to that point where you're like, okay, like, hey, like I've gone through so much. God has brought me through so much. I've now recognized that it's him that was missing and I need to share this. What do you think brought you to that point of like, I need to share my story?
I think honestly just being through so much.
Sure.
And just like, childhood and then ulcerative colitis. And I'm a girl in high school, so obviously
All the
friend
things.
issues.
Right.
And so I think just that, and then the fact that no matter what, he was still here. And no
Yeah.
matter all these like times I would be in my car just, yelling and being just so angry at God. Like even after all of those horrible and, really vulnerable times, he was still there for me. And that, during Christmas, it was, he made me feel so whole. And I was just like, I want other people to know that it doesn't matter, like, if, like, what you're going through. Like, Jesus, you can just give it to him and he will take care of it.
That's
like,
so good.
Because, it was just, you try to, like, take care of everything yourself. And I'm very much that type of person. I'm very, like, I got it. Like, I don't need help. I can do it myself. And I'll eventually get it if I don't get it the first try. And so it is kind of hard for me to be like, God, like, please help me today. Like, I need your help.
Sure.
But he does every time, every time that I'm like, God, I really need somewhere important to be. Like, it'd really be helpful if you could, help my UC stay mild and not super, like, where it's not upsetting my body. And he does. I mean, every time he does. And it's just incredible, honestly. And, I still don't know why he gave me ulcerative colitis or he brought that into my life. But, I mean, I've come to a point where I don't really care anymore. I don't care to know why or anything like that. It's just because, I mean, I've learned a lot from having ulcerative colitis.
Sure.
So I'm grateful in a sense of having it, but
That's good. That's
yeah.
good.
Yeah. So obviously, you've really grown from these 3 months, from December, January, February, March. So about 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
You were
Yeah.
close.
But obviously, you've grown a little bit, actually a lot during these 3 to 4 months. What does your time with God look like?
That's good.
Just on a daily basis or a weekly basis?
Yeah. Definitely, like, praying is a big one. I have a journal. I have a journaling Bible, so I write, like, my notes and highlight and stuff in there. And then I'll go to church, but I really love to come back, sit somewhere by myself, rewatch church, and take notes about that.
I would have never thought to do that. Like to go back. Like I'm there You know what I mean? Like I would have
Yeah.
never thought, and there's been a couple of sermons that Jamie's preached, and I'm like, I need to rewatch that, you know,
Yeah.
but I would never have thought to do that like on a consistent basis, like what you're doing. I think that's impactful.
Well, it's
to do
really
that.
nice because I'm just an English type of person. Like I love taking notes. I love annotating, all that type of stuff. And so I tried doing it. I tried taking the notes in church one time, and I was like, way too fast, way too much information. And so I just, that's like a really special thing that I do. And I really love it because it's my own personal time to just kind of sit back and reflect on what he has said in the service. And I think probably honestly just talking about what God is putting in my life, or what Jamie has said during church, or just anything like that, is something that really helps me like retain the word and help share it with others. It's kind of just like studying. Like I feel like the more you like verbally say something, the more it sticks with you.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Man.
Now, obviously, you're walking through this also side by side with your boyfriend you've mentioned. What has that experience been like? That relationship? You know, you had mentioned before we started recording, that he came with you that December service. So what has that all been like with you guys?
Yeah. So when we first started dating, and we've been dating it'll be 3 years in April.
Oh, wow.
And,
Oh, wow.
So when we
Awesome.
first started dating, he didn't believe in God, because he was one of those people where it was like, I don't know really what is out there for sure. So I'm not going to say I believe in something, but he came to Christmas service with me, and he just absolutely loved it. He loved the way Jamie preached. He loved how, like, what he said. He loved the music. He loved the atmosphere. He just loved everything about it. He loved how so laid back people were, and how, open and inviting people were. And so he just fell in love with it, and he hasn't missed a church service since.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so, and if someone came up to him and was like, "Do you believe in God?" He'd say, "Yeah." So, I mean, it's just, it's like one of those things where I'm growing in my spirituality, but to see somebody, grow in such a new and unknown relationship with God is even more exciting to
That's
watch.
so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And so this story, so I went to Barnes and Noble because I was getting back into church, and I was like, I want a new Bible. Because I annotated my old one, but I was kind of like, I'm in a new point in my life. Like I just want to start fresh. And so it was me, my boyfriend, and then my best friend, Alyssa, and we went to Barnes & Noble, and I was looking at the Bibles, and she came over, and she was like, I don't even have a Bible. So she got a Bible, and then my boyfriend found this little pocket Bible, I think of the New Testament.
Okay, yeah.
And he bought it. And so he brought it up and was like, do you mind buying me this? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I'll buy you any Bible you want. And so
That's so cool.
It was so funny. Like, we all walked in there not knowing what we were gonna get, and then all three of us walked out with Bibles.
Come
And
on.
that was actually really funny. And I called my grandma and told her that, and she thought that was the coolest.
She was
thing.
like, I was praying for that.
She did. She did say I was praying for you. And so,
That's awesome.
But yeah.
That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of
gosh.
prayer, obviously we've loved having you on. I'd love to have you on again so we can kind of dive in a little bit more into your story, some of the experiences you had. I think so much of what you've shared, students in today's world can relate to, which is great. And so we'd love to have you back on. But would you mind just closing us out in prayer and just, whatever God lays on your heart, if there's something you want to pray for specifically for yourself or maybe for a student who's listening?
Okay. All right. Jesus, I pray that everybody out there who is listening to this podcast, that if they are going through something that maybe not everyone knows about, or that they're not comfortable with sharing, that they can just give it to you, God, that they don't need to take care of it by themselves, that they need to just give the control up to you, and that you will take care of them, and that they just need to know that you're good, God, that you you've got it taken care of, that you have a plan for everybody, and that you know what you're doing. And whether or not, anybody might not know why or anything why you put something in their life, God, but, you did for a reason. And so I just pray that everybody and anybody just goes to you, God. Amen.
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 We enjoyed.
So
We
good.
loved having you on.
Yes. Thank you
you.
so
It was
much.
so awesome.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Great job.